Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. And Manchester United have raided Arsenal again for top youth talent, Ayden Heaven. Get involved in the chat as usual, Reds, with your own opinions, and we'll try and discuss them throughout today's video. Some positive news today and a top youth prospect.
Yeah, top youth prospect. Look, it's hard to keep focus on Manchester United, what's going on in the background with its daily chaos as we see it. But in this signing, this is the second signing from Arsenal, talented youngster, and I've got to give full praise to the people what have gone out there and priced two youngsters from Arsenal who they highly regard. This is the future. And I've lost focus on it, and I think lots of people have lost focus on what really the strategy is at Manchester United. And it is bringing in youngsters, either developing them or bringing them in by like these two from Arsenal. That's the future. That's the sights Ineos set upon when they came in. And these two, Chido Obi-Martin was the first one, 16 years of age. This kid's 18, just about to sign for Manchester United. This is the future. And when we talk of the future, we're looking to challenge in the future, and it's going the way of youngsters.
Yeah, clearly the strategy, signing the likes of Samuel Lusal, also Sekou Kone, James Overy as well in the summertime. So it's a clear strategy to focus on youth and develop them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's losing focus because of the daily dramas at Manchester United. I've lost focus, and I think lots of Manchester United fans have lost focus of what's really going on. And it's tough, really, on a daily basis here at Manchester United. But when you look at the strategy, I'm comfortable with it going forward, and lots of youngsters have been brought into this, and I think lots of them will be given chances, I think mainly in the summer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of people getting involved in the chat, mentioning like the strategy, and Richie does say all the journalists who are writing crap clickbait and speculation, and Ineos nip in on the quiet and acquire another young talent.
Well, they're not focused on the youngsters, on the future. They're looking for their daily fix of news from Manchester United. That's what they're about. But what it is, it's deflected a lot of things of what's going on at Manchester United, and fans have sort of missed what's been built up, and what's being built up is an academy, youngsters ready to go forward, and some of them are really talented.
Yeah, on Heaven, I've got to be honest with you, I hadn't actually heard of him until about 2 or 3 hours ago. I'm sure, like a lot of yous out there, we're searching around on Google and YouTube to find highlights, clips of him, and find out a lot of information. And from what I've seen out there, he was more of a box-to-box midfielder at his time at West Ham. Obviously then moved to Arsenal, and he was then put into like a more centre-back role on the left-hand side as well as a central defender. So for me, he's coming in. Is he coming in as a backup to Lisandro Martinez to challenge as well? Lisandro Martinez, because some of the reports that I have seen, it seems to be that Ruben Amorim thinks he can be in the first team squad straight away.
I think he will get promoted after a month or two into the first team squad. I think what he'll do, he'll play games in the under-21s and then come through into the squad. But I don't think he'll be a major part. You have to look at like the central players what are there. You've still got Lindelof and Evans there in front of him. I actually believe that he's coming in to replace them, and we're not going out there buying a big, strong centre-half. I think he's coming in to replace these two in the squad. Whether he's going for Martinez as backup or anything like that, I don't think so. I think at 18 years of age, I think, yes, people pinpointing him and saying, oh, he plays this way, he plays that way. I think with an 18-year-old, he's able to adapt. And I think with the United coaches and that, they'll look at him as one of the three centre-halves fitting in anywhere, especially early on. I don't think he will be, this is my opinion, Martinez like replacement or anything, because Martinez, as far as I'm concerned, going nowhere. Absolutely going nowhere. Even though some people have doubted him over the last few weeks, he's going nowhere. So as a replacement, no, I think he's there to learn the trade. In about 18 months, I think he'll then try and push. You've got to remember, right, we've got De Ligt, we've got Yoro there. Yes, Harry Maguire's there as well. So I think Harry Maguire will be in front of him, but Harry Maguire has only got so long. And at 18 years of age, centre-half, very, very tough job. So I think he's got to toughen up, got to learn the trade, get in and out of this team.
I think he's already there. Physicality-wise, from what I've seen already, it looks to be that big, strong lad. Obviously, he's got a lot more physical development still to do at his age. But for me, I'd have him in that squad over the likes of Lindelof and Johnny Evans right now. You've looked at it with Toby Collier. I know he's a little bit more advanced in his development, but he's clearly preferred to the likes of Casemiro, an experienced player. So for me, I think this young kid, and we've also seen it actually in a few matchday squads this season in promoting the youngster who's only 16 in Kokonke from the youth academy on match days. So I think Ruben Amorim is more than likely at some point, I do agree, maybe after a month, he'll then come into the first team squad after a few academy games, get used to the football club.
I think he's got to get used to it. He's 18 and coming to Manchester United, totally different than Arsenal. This is a bigger club. It's a worldwide club. Yes, Arsenal have got their worldwide base, but this is different. And I think this kid needs time to settle in. And is it right to bring him in? Is it right to bring him into chaos? I don't think so at this moment. The kid needs to settle his feet, get his feet underneath the table, learn what's going on, learn the players he's going to be playing with, and that's the players in the under-21s before he gets moved up. Yeah. Many people will have different opinions, but hey, the summer, that's when it'll all come. That's when it will all change for everything, for every player. What you talk about, Lindelof and Evans, they're in the first team squad. They're there, and I think there's no need to rush this kid. Could be a mistake. Because we're under pressure, look where we are. Look where we are. We don't need him there. I don't think so. Lindelof, especially Evans, is a great person to bring in. One of the three what are in there, like Joro or even Martinez failing, breaking down in training or anything like that. No rush with this kid. Why should they?
Yeah, no, I do get what you say. Obviously, there's always a lot of hype in there when we sign a player, whether it's a young, talented player, youth prospect, or someone who's ready-made. But I'm going to still stick with the sign of Evans and Lindelof won't be here next year.
No,
so let's get this kid into the first team squad as quickly as they can. And let's see how he performs and adapts for me, because there's a lot of players there, including the likes of Lindelof. They've had their time, they've had their day here at Manchester United. They've dragged it out for too long. So let's start getting some of these youth players in who are hungry for it. He clearly wants first team football, or he wouldn't have left Arsenal. Tough task for him to actually break through there. Let's be honest as well, with the likes of Saliba and Gabriel. So he sees it where he's got maybe an easier path, so to speak, to get into the first team and get opportunities there, because there will have been some conversations there and what they actually think of his progress here into the first team, and he might have thought, well, I've got a better chance here to come to Manchester United. Who knows, because them conversations would have been asked.
Well, I look at it, bringing in Ayden here, it's the plan for success, all the youngsters. So Ineos told us what the strategy was, and I look at it and I think to myself, really not successful.
Turn your mic on. Sorry, apologies. I think my old man's mic's just gone. I'm just going to put it back on now. Just like to thank you all for getting involved in the chat and letting me know. Is that come back on?
Yeah, come.
Give a big hello.
It's back on. Hello.
No problem. We're back on. If it does go again, I'm sure a lot of you out there will let me know again. But yeah, just finish off where you was up to.
Well, I just look at it. The plan for success is the youngsters. And like I say, I go back to what I said before. I-5 to the people what have scouted him and brought him in and got him, because there was a path for him, but it looked like it was a tough path. United, going forward, I look at it, Carrington is the main investment and the youngsters are the future, and they've gone big time on it. You've got to look at the Carrington investment. Pitches, the coaches, the facilities, the health and everything. Everything is geared for these youngsters over the next couple of years. I think they'll be training a lot of these youngsters with the first team squad, which quite a few have already. They've been playing games at Carrington. So I think it's an easy transition, but this transition at this moment is, in my opinion, not the right way to go because of the carnage and chaos what's going on around the club. I think by the time the summer comes, it'll be a little bit more settled. There's an opportunity. You go to the likes of Wheatley. He will look in the summer, one of the youngsters, to try and break through in the pre-season. And I think it's the pre-season where the likes of Hayden, Obi and all that will try and sort of cement a place getting in with the first team squad in one way or the other. And I think the pre-season is the magical moment for us to see all these youngsters fighting and I mean fighting to get in this squad. But I think there's a path there for a few of them. Collier's already in there. There's no way he's going out of this squad, okay? And I have said, I think Ruben Amorim will introduce one more, and I think that's ready to come. One more into the squad, give him a couple of games. Clearly, Toby Collier is going to get plenty of games now till the end of the season. And if you look, Eriksen, Casemiro in the midfield role, will they be here in the summer? I highly doubt it. So Toby Collier has already took that place in the midfield. It's just due one more. So the big signings, I don't think will come in the summer. So these youngsters will get the opportunities.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully my mic's all right. Look at him checking his mic.
Sweet as a nut.
Sweet as a nut. But yeah, we've saved £75 million the way I look at it as well. Another good bit of business strategy from Ineos, because they were looking at Gerard Branthwaite back in the summertime. He was also that left-sided defender, and we've come in and signed another top prospect in Heaven as well. So, you know, like we're talking about with the strategy, they're doing the homework here, and a lot of the youngsters around, not just Europe, but around the world as well. When you look at the likes of Sekou Kone, who's coming, and others as well.
Yeah. And I think this strategy will carry on, because at the end of it, there's value in these kids. That's how they look at it. Yeah. Some will make it, some won't. The majority never make it, and they go down the lower leagues and ply the trade that way. But also they're looking at the money value for these youngsters. I think going into the summer, if you look at what they're going to buy, possibly 2 major signings. And if they do sign anyone in January, I think it'll be a young lad what they'll sign. Obviously, you've got the young left wing back who they're looking at, Dorku, I think is that how you say?
Dorku, yeah.
Yeah, Dorku, that's who they're looking at. But it's young, and that's where they're going. And I think we've all lost focus on really what the future is and what it's all about, and it is youngsters, and the age of like signing mega players for 100 million, 80 million and all that, I think that's out the window. And if you look at the Everton player there, I think United just might have escaped a slippy one there.
Yeah, with you just mentioning Dorgu there, I've seen a report from Sport Witness, sorry, can't get my words out. Yeah. And they're coming off Norbert Online, which is a local TV station over in Italy, and they're reporting that the Dorgu to Manchester United transfer will be announced by Lecce in the next few hours. They say that Lecce has given into the pressure put on him by Manchester United, with the deal expected to be €35 million plus €5 million in bonuses. And they're basically saying, because it's one of the biggest deals in the club's history, they're going to take some pride in it and present that actual deal when it's done. But yeah, like I said, I just thought I'd update you on that it could be in the next few hours something comes up with that.
I think when
20-year-old lad as well.
Yeah, 20-year-old, that's what they're going for. Will he come straight into the team? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But obviously it's a problem in the system Ruben Amorim wants to play, and he's clearly identified him. Yes, United have put pressure on him, but as the window is coming to an end, they're just looking at it thinking, well, there's money on the table. Let's just take it because we might not get it again.
Fred Grantham has gifted 5 memberships.
Thank you.
Absolute legend. The 5 people who've been gifted their memberships. Give a big thank you, to Fred. And yeah, anything more to add though on Heaven?
No,
the actual strategy itself.
No.
Is any of the youth players you're actually looking at currently? There's some news around Harry Amas, Dan Gore as well, that they could possibly be put out on loan before this window's shut. So do you think they'd then come back in the summer, and then that's their final chance then to maybe try and get in and push into this first team squad for next season?
I think them players you've mentioned need to get out there and need to get game time. And I think when the summer comes, and I think that's why it's so important, and that's why I'm sort of mentioning it. I'm sorry if I keep going on about mentioning the summer, but these players what do go out on loan, this is their opportunity to come back in the summer and try and get in the squad. And if they don't get in the squad, this is part of the strategy as well of Ineos when they came in, getting value for money. These players will move on. And the reason why I say the likes of Dan Gore and that will move on if Ruben Amorim doesn't like them, they don't fit into the system, is because there's value for money there. That's the way they'll do it. And then the next generation will be pushing. And then you'll see again, people go out on loan. Next summer, exactly the same. That's the strategy going along. But I think this is the time for Wheatley, Dango, and the other players, what you're thinking of. These other players out there, what may get a chance in the summer to shine. But hey, there's a lot of kids, young players, going out in the summer, and there's a lot of players coming in. Big changes are coming. And I like it, me. I like it. And the strategy, buying big players, possibly 2 maximum this summer. I have said no big signings this January transfer window, and I don't rate that as like a big signing for Manchester United Doggo. I think it's a sensible signing for the future, 20 years of age.
Yeah, I do, and especially with Heaven coming in, you got the likes of Lenny Yoro there as well. So we seem pretty. Well, we look comfortable, I think, at the moment, for them actual free centre-half places. Now you've got to go further up the team into midfield, into the number 10 positions or the wide areas, and then into the striker position in the summertime, I think, to go and get someone who's proven. Yeah, there's a lot of young talent around this squad, but you need someone in, for me, who's ready-made, especially in that striker position.
Yeah, but I also look at the squad, what we've got now, and you have to listen to Ruben Amorim, and there's a lot of complaints from him, understandable complaints. He's not had time to train with him or anything like that. He's not had a pre-season with him. So I think, to be honest with you, there's a lot of improvement from some of these players what are there. Some what we've not been happy with, and we've named a few. Lots of yous out there. I've got your opinions on certain players. He can't play this, he can't do that. Understandable. But I think in the summer, I think there's a lot of these players will improve with time with Ruben Amorim. I mean, he just called him in the other day. You're having training on Monday after the Fulham game. Some of these players wanted time off. I wasn't happy with that sentiment, people asking for time off the day after the game. He wants the time with them to train with them. And I think the summer, some of these players will improve. I think the tactics will get better once these players really get to learn. It's a slow learning process, and I'm not happy at that. I look at other teams where managers have come in and turned players around within a few weeks. What's gone wrong here with United? I think it's been a big upheaval, and I think there's also chaos in the camp, and that's had to be dealt with, and we all know who we're talking about there.
Some people looking at it maybe from for the want for a better word, a cynical point of view, might be thinking a lot of these young players that we've brought in, especially in the last 12 months, they might be bringing them in on, like, let's say, these low transfer fees, just a matter of 100 grand, so to speak, and for a later date to sell them on them for big fees.
Now, some will succeed, but only a small number. But they're also looking at it from a financial point of view. It's all potential. Anyone in the under-21s, under-18s and that, it's all potential. And we all know what happens with youngsters. They can get carried away. Girlfriend might turn up. They might hit the booze. Anything can happen with them, right? Anything. So it's potential. And yes, there is money to be made on them, but that's a football club. It's a business, just like we're customers.
No, I do agree as well. And we've got to move away from these marquee signings, back to Arsenal when we signed Sanchez. He's sat here on his piano, and things like that have just never worked out. And there's loads of players that we can actually point to. And I do think it's the right strategy to come and get some of these youngsters in, learn the way of Manchester United, what it means to play for the club. And let's hope they develop into top-class players as well. And I genuinely do think we've got the manager for it as well. I actually do think Erik ten Hag was the manager for it as well, and bringing youth players through. You look at some of the ones he did bring through, like your Garnacho, like your Mainu as well. And I know a lot of people out there might say, well, what about Ahmad? But, during his time last season, he was injured for quite a large part of it, Ahmad. But, we will see this manager, I think, bring through a lot of youth players in his time here to try out, because a lot of the older ones, I just don't think are good enough as well. So he's going to have to be using a lot of these youth players, and also because the money's not there as well. Let's just hope the youth players they've bought are going to be top players, because it'll make his job a lot easier.
Well, I look to what people have been saying out there for quite a while now, especially on the youngsters. Yes, you bring some youngsters through, you get a team. And I think when you talk about the marquee signings, and people have said this, you don't bring the marquee signings into this squad at this moment. What has to happen, Ruben Amorim has to get these players playing football, but not just the first team playing football in his style. You've got to get the under-21s, the under-18s. They have to come through playing the style. So bringing a marquee player in now, say, some people, I use this as an example, let's bring in a marquee signing now who's a striker, 20-goal striker, guaranteed that. But there's no point in that, okay? You want to bring a marquee signing in when there's a pattern of play and the players are good at it. And then the marquee signing just tops it off. And that we'll see next year after the summer when we get when these players right the way through the club get an understanding of what Ruben Amorim and all his coaches want. And like I say, the main investment at United really has been Carrington. And that's on the pitches, on the coaches and all the other facilities in there. So it has to pay off. And you've got to give it at least 18 months, 2 years for that really to kick in proper, especially for these youngsters.
Zemiase, Arsenal fan. I thought this video might bring a couple of Arsenal fans at least in. He says, you can have him, Tony. Arsenal is charitable. I heard Pogba is coming back also. Yeah,
you're that charitable. You give the Premier League away for 2 years on the trot. But hey, nice one.
Yeah. Oh, you're contenders now though, aren't you? Yeah. Making it big in the world. But yeah, Pogba. I mean, I seen something on social media last night. Was there a picture of Pogba in like a cartoonistic picture, him and Ahmad? I mean, it's just all nonsense, isn't it, really?
Talking about Pogba gives me as much fun as headbutting the wall. Yeah. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, anything more to add on today's video?
No, I just look at the future. I look at what's going on. A couple of days left for the transfer window to go, and I am going to stick with it that there's no big marquee signings. I think it's very difficult to get players out. I look at Eriksen, I look at Casemiro. I think they're there till the end of the season. Lindelof the same. I mentioned Evans. Them 4 players, I think, are going nowhere at the moment. I think they're here till at least the end of the season. Casemiro is a big problem, a major problem getting out of the club. That's how I look at it. He might go today. You know, I might be talking absolute rubbish, but I just look at it as a problem. Who's going to pay his wages and where does he want to go? Obviously not go to Saudi. Why would he want to go to Saudi? He just wants his wages. But I'm not going mad at Casemiro. I look at Casemiro and Eriksen and I say to myself, 2 top professionals. And when I say that, they're in training every day. They're giving no trouble to the manager or anything like that. The problem with them 2, right, age has caught up and the Premier League has caught up with them, the speed and everything. At least them 2 are showing professionalism behind the scenes, unlike our Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, I still think Eriksen's got a bit to give though from now until
this season.
From now until the end of the season, especially in that number 10 role. Put him in that midfield too. You know, he will get walked over because he's just not got the mobility to get back when he's out of possession. But Casemiro, his days are obviously numbered. You look at the minutes Toby Collier is being given ahead of him. So for me, it's going to be an exciting summer. It's also going to be an exciting season next season to see a full season with Ruben Amorim in charge. But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved in the chat with your own opinions. Thought I'd just do a bit of a brief overview on Ayden Heaven and him moving to Manchester United. He is a medical booked, so let's hope he passes that and gets signing for Manchester United. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.